You always told me to save my money for a rainy day, Aunt Lucy. So you'll be happy to know that's just what I've been doing. Putting all of my money in the bank was a very wise decision. Now it would always be safe and sound. What? Robbery at Floyd's bank? But that's where my money is. Oh!
When Paddington puts on his Wellington boots, there's sure to be trouble. But turning right when he always goes left could mean catastrophe.
Attention Unit 1, proceed to Floyd's bank in case the thieves return to the scene of the crime. Over.
Hey? Possible shifty suspect spotted in front of the bank. Over.
Stay where you are, Unit 1, and keep your eyes on him.
I had decided to withdraw all my money from the bank, but I had to be careful. The robbers had struck once, and they might come back for more.
Suspect took something from a suitcase, then headed towards the bank.
Oh, can I help you?
I've come to see Mr. Floyd.
Well, there is no Mr. Floyd here. I am Mrs. Patel, the bank manager. May I help you?
Yes, I want to withdraw all of my savings from your bank.
Please, why don't we step into my office where we can talk about this, Mr.
Paddington Brown.
Mr. Brown, may I ask you why you want to take out all of your money?
Because of the robbery.
I see. Have you a lot of money, Mr. Brown?
£5.
One of ours can help you, Mr. Brown.
Excuse me, is there anybody there?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't see you.
I would like to take out all of my money and the interest that I've been saving for a rainy day.
Well, I'm afraid you won't keep very dry on this. You only have 10 pence in interest.
10 pence? That certainly doesn't sound very interesting.
Interesting isn't the same as interest. Now, how would you like your money?
I'd like it with a £5 note, please.
£5, 10 pence.
There must be some mistake. This isn't the note I gave you. It's got different numbers.
Well, sir, I would think that your note is long gone by now. Perhaps it was stolen in the robbery yesterday. Or maybe we burned it.
Burned my money?
Burned his money? I better not burn my money.
That's what happens to notes when they get worn out.
Please, my money had a large chunk of marmalade stuck to it.
But why would they put marmalade on his money?
We didn't put marmalade on his money. He did. And I remember your note because it stuck to several others, so I kept it right here out of harm's way until the robbers took it.
Then my money was stolen. Mrs. Bird always said to call her in an emergency, and this was definitely an emergency.
Suspect has entered the telephone booth. Over.
This is the emergency number. Where are you calling from, please? And what kind of help do you need?
The bank. I need help at Floyd's bank. All the help you can send.
Help is on the way.
Finally, it looked like something was going to go right.
Emergency at Floyd's bank.
I need backup. Over.
That's the same way Paddington went this morning. I'll eat my hat if he isn't up to something.
Big happenings at Floyd's bank. Police have a suspect from yesterday's robbery in custody.
I knew you were up to no good. You're nothing but a hoodlum.
But it was my £5 note that was stolen. It had a marmalade chunk on it.
Well, maybe not a robbery suspect, but a bear causing mischief who deposited money smeared in marmalade.
Officer, I believe there's been a terrible mistake. This is no hoodlum. He's an upstanding citizen of this community.
You know this bear?
Why, of course. I even opened his bank account for him.
Officer, there has obviously been a misunderstanding. This bear is one of our customers.
Really? Well, that doesn't explain why I called the emergency number for help.
But that's what you're supposed to do when you need help.
Not for this kind of emergency.
I was only trying to call Mrs. Bird, but a strange voice asked me what I needed.
So I said I needed help.
I'm sure he didn't mean to cause such a commotion. Did you, Paddington?
Well, no, but Mrs. Bird, my note was stolen. The one with the marmalade on it.
Oh.
Attention all cars. Robbery suspect detained after trying to use marmalade defective note. All cars proceed to 55A Melbourne Lane.
Terribly sorry, sir. And it looks like you may have helped catch the real thieves.
Like I say, bears always land on their paws.
And because of the help of one outstanding citizen, or rather one outstanding bear, the Floyd's Bank thieves were apprehended and the stolen money returned.
And to think it was because of some marmalade on a note. Mr. Brown, it is with great pride that I can now return your note. And thank you for putting marmalade on it. It was very helpful.
If you like, Mrs. Patel, I could put marmalade chunks on all your notes.
No thank you, Mr. Brown. I don't think that will be necessary.
I decided to keep my money at Floyd's Bank after all, Aunt Lucy, where Mrs. Patel assures me it will keep on growing. And when it has, I hope to come and visit you. But Mrs. Bird says with only £5.10, it may be a while before I do. Adios. I was very excited when Mr. Gruber told me we would be going mackerel fishing off the coast of Brittany in France. I like fishing, the ocean, and sailing, and couldn't believe my luck that I would soon be doing all three at the same time. Mr. Gruber made friends with a retired admiral, Admiral Grundy, who now lived and fished for mackerel in France. Mr. Gruber would use our experience in his book, The World and Its Wonders. Mr. Gruber very kindly bought me some oilskins. That's what they call rain pants. But I don't think the shop had many bear customers.
Ahoy, Mr. Brown!
Shiver me timbers, what's this? Expecting a gale, bear?
Shiver your timbers, Admiral Grundy. But all the boards on your boat are still stuck together.
I think the Admiral is admiring your new oilskins.
Thank you, Admiral Grundy. Paddington Bear ready for duty, Admiral.
Stand by forward!
Stand on my forearms? Aye, aye, Captain.
Watch the birdie!
Watch the birdie? Aye, aye, Captain.
Splice the main brace! Hoist the mainsail!
Yes, you're right. I am having trouble with my braces. But this should help.
Mainsail hoisted! Whoa! Mr. Brown, why don't you cast off? Mr. Brown?
Where's that young bear feller of yours got to, Gruber? Don't tell me he's fallen overboard!
Mr. Brown, are you there?
Yes, I am, Mr. Gruber.
Where?
Right here.
Are you all right?
Well, actually, no.
Good grief! He's got himself hoisted to me main mast!
There, now I've got you.
Thank you, Mr. Gruber. I had never thought that fishing could be quite so complicated. What with all the nets and lines. But luckily, Admiral Grundy was there to show us all we needed to know.
Always make sure your nets aren't tangled when you throw them over.
And please, always make sure there aren't any bears in them too. Admiral Grundy put me on untangling the nets duty, mostly because I had done the tangling. Now, for the big moment. The thing about fishing is that you never know what you're going to catch, and sometimes that's just as well. Admiral Grundy decided to give me the very important job of fishing with a line and a pin. I was was not about to let my first catch of the day get away from me. But I had caught one of Admiral Grundy's nets. Full of fish. Flying fish, it would appear.
Hold on, Mr. Brown.
I'm doing my best, Mr. Gruber.
Help below!
Help! Now that's what I call the catch of the day. Good work, mates.
After our success at fishing, Admiral Grundy decided to treat us to a relaxing afternoon on an island.
Splendid. We'll set up my tent in case anyone wants to take a nap in the shade. Now, don't forget to tie up there.
Thank you for reminding me.
Shiver me timbers, I forgot my beats chair. It's adrift! My ship's adrift! Didn't you tie up there?
Oh dear, I thought you meant this end of it.
50 years at sea. Never lost a ship yet, let alone being marooned. What a crew!
Oh. It's all right, Mr. Brown. We'll think of something to get us out of this.
Huh. We better get ready to spend the night out here. Gruber, you collect firewood. Paddington, you're on tent duty with me.
Aye, aye, Captain. While Admiral Grundy was grumbling at the prospect of spending a cold night on the windswept island.
Can't believe it. Ship adrift. What'll people in the village say?
I was quite excited. I had never spent a night in a tent before. This one looked rather small to fit 3 people. Oh.
That's it, Bear. I'll set the poles, and you tie the guy ropes and hammer in the stakes. And be careful with your knots. Don't want it blowing off as soon as we get inside.
I had no idea what a guy rope was, and I couldn't see any stake. But if there's one thing bears are good at, it's hammering.
Shake a leg, Bear! Tie it off!
It isn't easy with paws. It was time for drastic action.
What happened to the tent?
I think I must have got my guy ropes crossed by mistake. Then Admiral Grundy told me to shake my leg.
And where is the Admiral? Help!
He told me to tie it off.
Oh no!
What's the meaning of this?
Hello? I saw Monsieur Le Bear's signal for help.
What signal for help?
Monsieur Le Bear was waving in distress, so I came to the rescue. Come, it is getting late.
I wonder, Mr. Brown,
About what, Mr. Gruber?
if it's just you, or if all bears are born under a lucky star.
Don't forget me! Help!
Mr. Gruber says our spot of fishing will make an excellent chapter in his book, and the Admiral gave me his tent as a souvenir. He said he would never be able to sleep in it again. But I can't think how I'm going to get it into my scrapbook. One morning, I stopped outside Mr. Gruber's shop when something very strange happened. It was a lovely sunny day, and yet... Excuse me, that was my nose. And what are you doing to Mr. Gruber's window?
It's job week.
Job week? Well, I hope Mr. Gruber knows he won't be very pleased if you drip on his customers.
It's all right, Mr. Brown. People give the scouts odd jobs to do and pay them what they think it's worth. The money all goes to charity.
Charity? It would be nice to send some money to Aunt Lucy, but I don't suppose they have bears in the Scouts.
I shouldn't let that stop you. You must have been a cub once. You could have your own job week.
Job week for bears? What a good idea. Excuse me, everyone. I must go and see Mrs. Bird.
Goodbye, Mr. Brown. Take care. Oh, you missed a bit here. It's a marmalade chunk.
A job? What would be a safe job for Paddington?
I don't mind earning danger money, Mrs. Bird.
I was thinking more of the safety of the house.
Oh, I've always felt very safe here at 32 Windsor Gardens, Mrs. Bird.
I've got just the job. You can hang this lot on the clothesline.
And when they're dry, I can iron them if you like.
Ha ha! I'd like to see that. The day I let Paddington near an iron.
I wanted to do a particularly good job with the laundry, so Mrs. Bird would find me other jobs. Wind is very good for drying clothes, but makes it difficult to hang them.
Bear, where do you think you're going? Mind my leg.
Oh dear, Mr. Curry. The end's come off.
It's meant to. It's part of my costume for tonight's fancy dress contest at the town hall. I'm going as Long John Silver, the famous pirate. I expect to win first prize. I shouldn't bother with that ghost costume if I were you.
Oh, this isn't a costume. It's laundry. I'm sorry for knocking you over, Mr. Curry, but if you'll excuse me, I must start on the ironing.
Mrs. Bird lets you do ironing?
Well, she did say she'd like to see me do it.
Come, come, my dear bear. I've got a little job for you.
Do I get paid extra for the frills?
Paid? What are you babbling about?
It's Bear's job week, Mr. Curry.
Well, Bear's job week. It's bad enough having scouts knocking on everybody's door. I may give you something if you do a good job. On the other hand, I may not. Make sure the iron's hot. But not too hot. Otherwise, you'll damage the material, and I shall have to charge you. Now, I have to see Mr. Gruber about a sword. And Bear, see what you can do about an eye patch and a parrot. You bring my pirate costume and my perfectly ironed shirt to the town hall.
I was feeling thirsty, so while the iron was heating up some more, I thought I would go home and fetch a thermos of cocoa. Sorry, I can't help you, Mrs. Bird. I've got a job for Mr. Curry.
Getting any money out of Mr. Curry will be a job in itself.
Mr. Curry said he needed an eye patch, but I thought a pirate should always have a spare, and I'd found the perfect material when... Oh no! Mr. Curry's pirate hat!
That's my final offer. It is rather old, after all.
Oh, this is an antique shop, Mr. Curry, and it's worth much more than 10 pence.
But I only need it for tonight.
All right, you can borrow it for...
Right, now I must get to the town hall to see if that bear has finished my costume.
Since I had ruined Mr. Curry's pirate hat, I wanted to do a particularly good job with the ironing. First, I had to make sure the iron was hot enough, just as Mr. Curry had. Mr. Curry said he wanted the wrinkles ironed out, so I hoped I could iron out the cocoa stain too. I tried my best on the wrinkles, but cocoa stains go sticky when you iron them. And feather dusters aren't very good at cutting through glue. And it's very hard to put out a fire using a wooden leg. Oh dear. And while I thought I'd found Mr. Curry's parrot, I was pretty certain that I was in trouble again.
Why, Paddington! I didn't know you'd entered the costume contest.
It isn't a costume, Mr. Brown. It's a disguise. Oh, and if you see me at the Jamboree tonight, don't call me Paddington. Call me Redbeard. It was a good idea to come in disguise because Mr. Curry was upset and he was carrying something sharp.
Where's that bear with my costume?
Here it is, Mr. Curry, and you'll find eye patches and a parrot as well.
I wonder where Paddington is.
That's Redbeard.
Bear! Bear! Where is that bear?
And just what are you, sir? A pirate who escaped a burning deck?
No, a pirate who had his costume ruined by a bear.
Well, you've won first prize for the funniest costume ever. Pity about your parrot, though.
We won, Mr. Curry! We won!
There he is! That's the bear that did this to my costume! Did you say first prize?
Yes, but of course you'll have to share the prize with your friend here, since he helped with the costume. Tell me, what are you going to do with your half of the prize money?
I'm going to give it to the Home for Retired Bears in Lima, Peru.
All of it?
All of it. You see, I shall still have the money Mr. Curry promised me for doing his ironing.
What?
I hope you and all the other bears enjoy the prize money and this extra present. Oh, the red beard and marmalade.
Dear Aunt Lucy, today, Mr. Gruber is taking Judy, Jonathan and me to visit my first stately home. I don't know what a stately home is, but it sounds very important. So I decided to give my Wellington boots a good shine.
Come and see, Paddington. Mr. Gruber wants to show us a brochure.
Show us a brochure? But I thought he was going to show us a stately home.
And so I am, Mr. Brown. Today, we are going to Luckham House. Like other stately homes, it's very expensive to run, so the owner, Lord Luckham, opens it to the public. There are regular concerts, a souvenir shop, and one surprise feature which Mr. Brown will particularly enjoy.
Lord Luckham lived in a very big house. I hope Jonathan and Judy wouldn't get lost during the tour.
Welcome to Luckham House. I am Lord Luckham, your host and tour guide. The tour will start shortly. Ah, Miss Brodie, thank you for coming. I hope the readers of the London Daily Globe will enjoy a story about my stately home.
I hope so, Lord Luckham. I will try and make it as interesting as possible.
So, this is the surprise feature, Mr. Gruber. A restaurant.
Haha, but not just any restaurant, Mr. Brown. Their beef Wellington is famous.
What's beef Wellington?
A delicious dish. Just you wait and see. I think we'll all have it.
Pardon me, Mr. Gruber would like to order beef Wellington for 4.
I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not a waitress. I'm a reporter for the London Daily Globe.
Oh, well, in that case, I expect they would like to know about the beef Wellington. Mr. Gruber says it's very famous.
I'm sure they would, sir.
Oh, look at that! It's the most beautiful doll I've ever seen. Come on, Judy, let's go.
Excuse
Right,
me,
this way.
how much is this doll? I would like to buy it for my friend.
Sir, this doll is an antique. It's worth over £1,000.
£1,000? For a doll? I know where you could get a whole shop full of new ones for that.
Some of these paintings have been in the family for over 500 years. And this is Edward, the 10th Lord Luckham.
He looks just like the 9th Lord Luckham, except his beard is shorter.
We Luckhams have always tried to look our best. This way, please, to the library.
I had never seen so many books before in my life. And I love books. I'm afraid something's happened to your wall, Lord Luckham.
Please, would you mind not touching things?
Did you know there's a passage here?
Of course I did. It's a secret one. It leads to the armory, which we'll see later.
Secret passage to the armory. Come along, everyone. The armory's next on the tour.
Yes, but we go to the armory by the stairs. This way is not part of the tour.
It should be.
Oh.
I must say, this tour of Mr. Gruber's is very good value.
Oh! Yes, well, this is the armory. What are you doing?
Helping you with your passageways, Lord Luckham.
It's the other arm that opens it. You see? And that leads to the Queen's bedroom.
What a wonderful tour.
It didn't say anything about secret passageways in the brochure. Trust Paddington to discover all the fun parts.
Now, this chamber has remained virtually unchanged since Queen Elizabeth I spent a night here while on a journey to York.
Mrs. Bird will be pleased to see she made the bed afterwards.
Queen Elizabeth died 400 years ago.
I hope they've changed the sheets.
Right, this way, ladies and gentlemen. There's much more to see. What's wrong?
Can't we take the secret passageway?
Which secret passageway?
I'm sure there's one here, somewhere.
This isn't part of the tour either. In it, we'll be presenting a musical concert for your entertainment. Afterwards, dinner will be served.
The quartet is going to play my favorite, Mozart.
The music was putting everyone to sleep. I needed a nap too after all the walking, but I decided to find a more comfortable place. No wonder Queen Elizabeth only spent one night here. The bed's not very comfortable.
Time to clean the Queen's bedroom. Oh my, look at the crumbs. Someone's been eating in the Queen's bed. We must tell Lord Luckham about this. And he's not having a good day. I've heard there won't be any beef Wellington.
No beef Wellington. Mr. Gruber will be disappointed. I must do something.
Well, it's just as well. You didn't order the beef Wellington tonight, Mr. Brown. It's very, chewy.
I demand to see Lord Luckham. This beef Wellington is as tough as old boots.
Old boots? Why, I'll have you know, those were my best Wellingtons.
Your Wellington?
Yes, well, I think I'm feeling a bit full.
Beef Wellington? Made from Wellington boots? This is a disaster. Miss Brodie, please don't report this to your readers. We shall be ruined.
Oh, I think our readers will be very amused by the story of this young bear's recipe for boot Wellington. And our wonderful tour. I think Luckham House is a marvellous place.
You do? How wonderful. A little bit of publicity is just what the old estate needs. Everyone is invited next weekend for a free gala dinner. I will personally prepare the beef Wellington with my own Béarnaise sauce. I hope you will be the guest of honour.
I've never been a guest of honour before, Lord Luckham, but if you don't mind, I think I'll go without the bear's nose sauce. Aunt Lucy would be most upset. Since Australia is on the underside of the world, you might expect everything there to be upside down. Surprisingly, this is not the case. It's too bad, because that would have filled a whole chapter of Mr. Gruber's book, The World and Its Wonders.
Mr. Brown, I'd like you to meet an old friend of mine, Jim Atkins.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Atkins.
Likewise, mate. Welcome to Coober Pedy, the opal mining capital of the world.
It doesn't look like much of a capital.
Ah, but there's more to this town than meets the eye.
Where?
Underground?
Oh, do you have an underground too?
Not exactly.
I was soon to see just what kind of underground Coober Pedy had.
Now, this is what I would call down under.
These tunnels used to be opal mines. Then people started moving down here to get out of the desert heat.
This is just the sort of thing I need for my book.
What are these?
Those are opals. 95% of the world's precious opals come from this area.
Look at that one.
That's the Andamuka Queen, one of the biggest opals ever found.
It would make a nice present for my Aunt Lucy. How much is it?
Probably about 50,000.
50,000?
Careful now, Mr. Brown.
I had no idea opals were so valuable. The people who mine them must be very rich.
Some of them are. Like the fella who sold me my claim. He's the one who found the Andamuka Queen. But I haven't found anything yet.
We went to the hotel to check in, and like everything else in Coober Pedy, it was underground.
The truth is, if I don't find any opals soon, I'm gonna have to pack it in and leave.
Don't worry, Jim. Tomorrow we'll visit your claim, and we'll help you find the biggest opals ever. You can count on Mr. Brown and me.
That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the opals just lying in the ground waiting to be found. I decided to practice my opal mining technique. Mr. Atkins said that the whole town used to be old mines. I was hoping someone had missed a few spots.
Hey! What do you think you're doing?
Looking for opals. You haven't seen any, have you?
No, I haven't seen any. And if you don't stop digging holes in my wall this instant, I'll have to call the manager.
So I didn't get rich on my first try. But at least I knew my plan was working. Tomorrow I hope to find an Andamuka Queen of my own.
Let's see. Hard hats, buckets, picks. I think that's everything. Let's go.
Wait! I got the most important thing.
What's that?
An emergency marmalade sandwich.
Don't worry, Mr. Brown. We'll stop for lunch.
You know, the fella who used to work this claim was fond of marmalade too. Used to eat it all the time. After he found the Andamuka Queen, he bought himself a whole marmalade factory.
Really? I hope he left a few jars behind.
Now, everybody stay close. It's like a maze down here, and I wouldn't want anyone to get lost.
Don't worry, Mr. Atkins. Bears are good at mazes. You know something? I really think I smell marmalade. Do you, Mr. Atkins? Mr. Gruber? Anybody? Yes! Yes! Hello! Hello! Here I am! Here I am! Well, I guess whoever it was playing games, so I decided to do the only thing I could do. Follow the smell of marmalade.
Well, this is the last bit of my claim to explore. I've been everywhere else, and the walls are solid granite. No way through that.
Oh no! We seem to have lost Mr. Brown.
I actually started liking the game. Aha! I knew there was marmalade around here somewhere. But there wasn't much left, and what was didn't look very good. Then suddenly I realized that this might be the very spot where the Andamuka Queen was found. I decided to start digging. Oh! The walls were very hard, and since I couldn't reach the ceiling, I decided to have a go at the floor instead. Now, that's more like it.
That noise! It must be Mr. Brown. But where is it coming from?
Digging in the floor was easy, and I had found something.
I think he's this way.
I think he's that way. Oh. Mr. Brown?
Paddington!
Mr. Brown!
Paddington!
That's funny. Mr. Gruber and Mr. Atkins sound very close.
Mr. Brown, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Digging in the ceiling. I never thought of that.
You mean the floor? And I'm afraid I didn't find any opals. I only found that big piece of coal.
This isn't coal. This is black opal, the rarest kind. Do you realize what this means? You did it! You found my strike!
Well done, Mr. Brown. This will make a fine chapter in my book.
What happened? Did you find any more?
Oh, yes. We found quite a few smaller black opals that day. Mr. Atkins wanted to give me a share of the strike, but I said it should go to Mr. Gruber to help pay for all the trips we've taken together.
Oh, but then you don't have a souvenir of your trip.
Oh, yes, I do. I think I may take up mining.
Oh!
Do you think Mr. Brown will mind if I have a go in the garden?
Thank you for lending a hand in the shop, Mr. Brown.
You're welcome, Mr. Gruber.
My antiques are very popular with American tourists over here for their holidays, and dealers come to buy up as much stock as possible.
Perhaps they'd help with the lifting. Oh! Phew! Thank you, Mr. Gruber.
You know, it's good to have someone with a knowledge of antiques to help me out during the busy season. A bear with an eye for a bargain is worth his weight in gold. I don't need to tell you, it's a rare early spode.
One with a chip in it, too.
I haven't had time to mend it. I've been so busy.
May I do it for you, Mr. Gruber? Bears are good at mending things.
Oh, all right. That sounds like a very good idea.
Goodbye, Mr. Gruber.
I know you'll be careful with my jug. Most certainly, if you ever decide to go into business, I'm sure you'll be a big success.
I'd like to go into business like Mr. Gruber. The problem is, how to start. Aunt Lucy says nothing beats practical experience. Good morning. I've come for...
Good morning, sir. What will it be today? Haircut? Shampoo? Those whiskers could do with a bit of a trim.
Trim my whiskers?
Tell you what, sir. Seeing trade's a bit slack this morning, I can give you a thorough going over.
A haircut's important, and that's a fact. Not something you keep hidden under your hat. Afraid of the barber and don't know why. Like the dentist or doctor, he's a really nice guy. He'll clip, snip, dip, and with zip, drip in a flip. You got a lot, try or not. Time to strut a new haircut. Bob cut, brush cut, bangs and more. Pageboard, ponytail, pompadour. Swirls and curls, they're all amazing. So many styles, it's simply hair raising. The barber's there to show hair don'ts and hairdos. It doesn't really matter what style you choose, cause it's hair today and gone tomorrow. Hair today and gone tomorrow.
So, what will it be?
I'd rather not have a haircut, thank you very much. I've come about the... job.
You're not a very good advertisement. It's a tough business learning to cut.
I don't like the sound of that, but I do want to learn.
Oh, you'll learn all right. You'll be on your feet all day, sweeping and running errands and having to talk about the weather all the time.
I do enjoy a challenge. And just think, with an assistant, you'd be able to put your feet up.
I can only afford to pay you, £5?
That's more than Mr. Brown gives me for bun money.
Done then. Mind you, it's only on a trial basis while I go next door for a tea break.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sloop. You can count on me.
You can start by giving the shop a going over. Only mind the scissors. Don't go nicking your paws. Don't want bear's blood all over the place. It'll give the shop a bad name. Who knows? If it works out, I might even let you have a go with the clippers.
If only Aunt Lucy could see me now. I was sure to enjoy working in Mr. Sloop's shop. There was so much to do, and so much to learn.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Charlie, what's a guy gotta do to get some service around here?
I'm not Charlie, I'm Paddington Brown. You need Mr. Sloop.
I need a haircut. Just a little off the sides and nothing off the top. Okay, buddy?
Charlie. Buddy. I wish he'd make up his mind.
Hey! Is this a barber shop or isn't it?
That's right.
Then make it snappy. Get me one of them relaxing hot towels while you're at it so I can unwind. I've been on my feet for a week now. I'm busy buying up...
Excuse me, are you all right in there?
Yes. Just a little off the sides, Charlie.
Oh! I think I should have asked for my £5 in advance. Mr. Sloop must have a bottle of something to put things right. Just the thing. Dr. Spooner's Quick Action Magic Hair Restorer.
Say, are you just about done? What's taking so long?
It doesn't seem to be working very fast. What was I going to do? You can't beat marmalade for sticking to things, especially hair.
What do you think you're doing? I've only been gone a few minutes. You're fired.
What happened to my hair? Do you work here?
Not anymore. This is Mr. Sloop's barber shop.
Say, Sloop, what kind of place are you running here?
I do apologize, sir. Good help is so hard to find.
I only came in for a trim.
I'm terribly sorry.
Hey, hold it right there, Charlie. What's that you got?
Look out! That's Mr. Gruber's spode.
Imagine finding a genuine piece of spode in a barber shop. I've searched through practically every antique shop in town, hoping to strike it lucky.
You must have missed Mr. Gruber's shop then. He's got lots more where that one came from.
Mr. Sloop, what say I pay this young bear's wage? He's been quite a help, despite my new haircut. Nice doing business with you, Mr. Gruber. Oh, they're gonna love this stuff back home. You keep that little fella around. He's got a good head for business.
I think it's time for some cocoa, Mr. Gruber. Being in business is thirsty work.
Certainly, Mr. Brown. I'd say you've earned it.
Left Peru and sailed to England alone. There he met the Browns and they took him home. Now a new life has begun. He's Windsor Garden's favorite son, 'cause he always does his best to help everyone. When a problem appears, he never misses a beat, and always finds a way to land on his feet. Has his very own unique point of view, looks at everything as if it's brand new. He is friendly and polite, and he tries to do things right, but he gets in sticky messes just the same. He's curious and speaks his mind, but trouble's never far behind. It's Paddington Bear, he's one of a kind.
I'm Paddington Bear.